Welcome to Unbreakable Truth. In today's video, it started with nothing. Just a Saturday night that didn't feel any different from the one before it or the hundreds that came before that. The kind of night that barely registers in your memory like a muted sigh in a life full of static. The living room was dim, the walls glowing faintly with the flicker of a black and white film. One of those old, aching French dramas where no one says what they mean but their eyes scream it anyway. A movie where silence says everything. And I sat there, half watching, half fading into the couch, like furniture within furniture. I wasn't waiting for anything. I didn't even let myself hope for anything. Not anymore. But when his hand brushed mine, just lightly, like an accident, something ancient inside me stirred. I didn't flinch. I didn't look at him. I didn't breathe. But inside, something cracked open. Something I didn't know was still capable of feeling anything. That's when I knew nothing could go back to the way it was. My name is Rachel. I'm 45 years old. I've been married to Mark for more than 20 years. We've built a life. A sturdy, sensible life. We've got 2 teenagers, a mortgage that hovers like a ghost over our heads, a leaky sink we keep meaning to fix, and a routine so familiar it's practically etched into the floorboards. We don't fight. We don't kiss much either. We function. That's the word, function. Like a washing machine or a ceiling fan. We do what we're supposed to do when we're supposed to do it. But feeling wanted, feeling alive, that part of me had gone so quiet, so numb, I'd convinced myself it didn't exist anymore. Like a room you never enter until the door creaks open by itself. And that door opened because of Eli. Eli is 29. He's the son of my best friend, Amanda. I've known him since he was running barefoot through my backyard during 4th of July barbecues, trying to steal cookies when he thought no one was watching. He used to call me Miss Rachel. That changed a few years ago. Now he just calls me Rachel. It's a small thing, but it made everything feel different. He'd grown up, obviously. Taller now, broader shoulders, deeper voice. But that wasn't what got me. It was his quietness. Not shy, just gentle. Thoughtful in ways men his age usually aren't. Attentive in a way that didn't feel performative or transactional. He noticed when I changed my hair, when I wore a new sweater, when I looked tired. He asked questions and waited for the answer, not out of politeness, because he wanted to hear. Mark hadn't noticed anything about me in years. That night, Mark's back was acting up again. He took his usual muscle relaxers and was out cold before the second act of the movie. I knew the moment I heard the soft creak of the bedroom door shutting that he'd be gone for the night. Eli stayed behind, said he liked old films, said they made him feel like people still meant what they said, still felt what they felt. So we watched together, me on one end of the couch, him on the other. Or at least we started that way. At some point our knees brushed. It could have been nothing. Could have been one of those accidental, forgettable grazes. Except I didn't move my leg, and neither did he. I kept my eyes on the screen, heart pounding so hard I could barely hear the dialogue. And then his hand slipped down between us. At first it was a brush, his fingers grazing the edge of my thigh. Light. Barely there. But it was there. But it was there. And I froze. I didn't breathe. I didn't move. I just let myself feel. And God, I had forgotten what that felt like. His fingers curled slightly, the pinky just resting there, feather-light. Then his hand turned upward, palm open, like a question. Not pressure. Just presence. I held onto the blanket draped over my lap like it was keeping me from falling off a cliff. My heart was hammering against my ribs, breath shallow. The movie played on, ignored, and then in the quiet, he whispered, "You okay?" I nodded. That was all it took. His hand settled fully on my leg. Not possessive, not hungry. Just there. Steady, real, and warm. And suddenly my body remembered everything I had tried to forget. He wasn't looking at me. His eyes stayed on the movie. But his thumb moved, slow and deliberate, one stroke across my thigh, and I swear I stopped breathing. I didn't stop him. I didn't even want to. His hand slid higher, just an inch, then another. Still slow. Still calm. Still asking in silence. And I shifted. Just a little. Parted my knees. Just a little. Parted my knees. Just slightly. And in that tiny movement I felt years of denial collapse, every lie I'd swallowed about desire being for the young. Every excuse I made for Mark and for myself. Every night I went to bed untouched, unloved, unseen, I felt them all crumble. Eli didn't need to speak. His hand slipping under the edge of my short said enough. I was shaking. Not with fear. With recognition. It was like my body had been in a deep sleep and his touch was the alarm. He leaned in. I thought he'd kiss me. But he didn't. He whispered, "I'll stop if you want." I wanted to say yes. I wanted to say no. I wanted to speak at all. But nothing came out. Because what I really wanted was to feel. To be seen. To matter. So when he didn't stop, I let him. He touched me like I was rare. Like he was afraid I might disappear if he moved too fast. His hands didn't grope. They explored. They remembered. They listened. And when I finally turned to him, when I looked into his eyes, when I saw that same ache mirrored there, I kissed him. It was clumsy, breathless, unplanned. But it was real. So real. His lips on mine felt like the first time you step into sunlight after months of winter. For that one moment, I wasn't Mark's wife. I wasn't someone's mom. I wasn't a housekeeper or a scheduler or a ghost. I was just a woman who wanted to be wanted. The movie faded behind us, forgotten. We fell into each other. Slowly, carefully, with more reverence than rush. When his hands explored me, it didn't feel like cheating. It felt like remembering. I wanted to stop. 100 times I told myself to stop. But every time I opened my mouth, he touched me like I was made of glass and fire, like I could burn or shatter or both. And I couldn't speak. I didn't want to. And then a sound. Somewhere in the house. A floorboard. A pipe. I don't know. We froze. His forehead pressed to mine. His breath was warm against my cheek. "We're not supposed to be doing this," he whispered. "I know," I whispered back, but then I kissed him again. Because it was already too late. When the credits rolled, we sat tangled in silence. His shirt was wrinkled. My skin still hummed. "What happens now?" I asked. He didn't answer. The next morning, I stood in the kitchen, staring at a full cup of coffee I hadn't touched. I heard the bathroom door open. Eli passed behind me. Didn't say anything. Filled a glass at the sink. Left it there. But the silence between us. It said everything. Days passed. We barely spoke. But the memory, his touch, his breath, that feeling, it stayed. One afternoon, we crossed paths in the laundry room. Our hands met on the basket handle. We both froze. He looked at me. "I can't stop thinking about it," he said. "Me neither," I replied. But we didn't do it again. Not because we didn't want to. Because it didn't fix anything. It had only awakened it. That hunger, that ache. That part of me I had buried beneath years of folded towels and forgotten anniversaries. I started locking the bedroom door, not to keep Eli out, to keep myself in. I stopped sitting on the couch after dinner, stopped watching movies altogether, but none of it mattered. His hand still lived on my skin. His voice still echoed in my ear, and I wasn't invisible anymore. One evening, we sat on the porch steps. Not touching, not talking. The sky above us turned gold, then pink, like the kind of sunset you only get in late July. It was soft. Too soft for what I felt inside. He sat at the other end, not far, not close. "You've been quiet lately," he said. "I've been thinking," I replied. "Me too." I looked at him. Really looked. I shouldn't have let it happen. But you did. And I didn't stop you. We both sat in that truth. Heavy, dense, real. Then he stood up, walked into the dusk, and I let him go. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't call him back. I just watched until the dark swallowed him. Inside, Mark was at the sink washing dishes. I stood in the doorway, wine glass in hand. He turned slightly. "You okay?" he asked. I nodded. But I wasn't. Because the worst part wasn't that it happened. But I was that I wanted it to.